One of Us is Next, Karen M. McManus. Chapter 6. Knox, Saturday, February 22nd. I'm about to kill my sister. Sorry, Kirsten, but you're in the way. With a flick of my thumb on the controller, Kirsten's bounty horse avatar crumples to the ground, blood gushing from her neck. My sister blinks, fruitlessly presses a few buttons, and turns to me with an incredulous scowl. Did you just slit my throat? She glares at the television screen as Dax Reaper steps over her lifeless body. I thought we were working together. Our geriatric golden retriever Fritz, who had been half asleep at Kirsten's feet, lifts his head and lets out a wheezy snort. We were, I say, taking off one hand off my controller to scratch between Fritz's ears. But you outlived your usefulness. Dax agrees with me on screen. It's a good day for someone to die, he growls, sheathing his knife and flexing his muscles. Just not me. Kirsten makes a face. This game is vile, and I'm starving. She's sitting next to me on her basement sofa and shifts closer to nudge my knee with hers. Kirsten lives an hour away and doesn't usually spend her Saturdays with us, but her girlfriend is teaching in Japan for 6 weeks, and she's at loose ends. Come on, pause your ridiculously buff alter ego and get some lunch with me. You mean my doppelganger? I say. The resemblance is uncanny. I put down my controller and flex one arm, then instantly wish I hadn't. What's the opposite of ridiculously buff? Pathetically spindly? Kirsten and I look the most alike of any of our siblings, down to our spiky short hair, but she has much better muscle tone from rowing crew on the weekends. Usually, I try not to call attention to that fact. Kirsten ignores my sorry excuse for a joke. What are you in the mood to eat? She holds up her hand before I can speak. Please don't say fast food. I'm ancient, remember? I need a glass of wine and some vegetables. Kirsten is 30, the oldest of my 4 sisters. They were all born one right after the other, and then my parents thought that they were done until I showed up a decade later. My sister treated me like a living doll for years, carrying me around so much that I didn't bother learning to walk until I was almost 2. Wing Zone, I say instantly. It's a Bayview institution, famous for its extra hot wings and a giant inflatable chicken on the roof. Now that Bayview's getting trendy, new people are starting to grumble that the chicken is tacky and doesn't fit the town aesthetic. Direct quote from a letter to the editor in the last Bayview Blade. So the Wing Zone owners are doubling down. On Valentine's Day, they strung a garland of blinking red neon hearts around its neck that still hasn't come off. That's some professional level petty, and I'm all for it. Wing Zone? Kirsten frowns as we head for the basement stairs, Fritz padding behind us. Didn't I just specifically request vegetables? They have celery sticks. Those don't count. They're 99% water. And coleslaw, 100% mayonnaise. The lemon pepper wings have citrus? Here's a life lesson for you, Knox. Fake fruit flavoring is not and will never be a vegetable. Kirsten looks back at me as she opens the basement door, and I give her the kind of hopeful, ingratiating smile that works on absolutely nobody except my sisters. Oh, fine, she grows, but you owe me. Sure, I say. She's never going to collect, though. That's the upside of having sisters who think that you're a mom. Our basement opens into the kitchen, and when we get upstairs, my dad's sitting at the table, hunched over some paperwork. He looks a lot more like Dax Reaper than I do. Now that he owns his own company, Dad doesn't necessarily have to do hands-on construction work, but he still does, which makes him the most in-shape guy in his 50s that I know. He glances up, and his eyes flick past me, the boring kid who still lives at home, and twinkle at Kirsten. Didn't know you were still here, he says. Fritz, who's always liked my alpha male father better than anybody, leans adoringly against his chair. She sighs. Knox brought me into video game hell. Dad frowns because he thinks video games are a waste of time, as opposed to actual sports ball games, which he'd love for me to play. But he just waves his folder he's holding at me and says, I'll leave this for you to take to work on Monday. What is it? I ask. Letter of intent. We're going to hire a couple of the D'Agostino ex-honorees, he said. I got a packet in the mail the other day from Until Proven. Great. Except he didn't get it in the mail. I brought it home and put it on his desk with a note, which I guess he never even noticed. Kirsten beams. Fantastic, Dad. Way to take an example for local businesses. My father and Kirsten are a strangely amicable pair. He's a conservative, macho, old-school guy who somehow gets along better with my bleeding-heart lesbian sister than he does with anyone else. Maybe because they're both athletic, take-charge, self-starter types. Well, it's worked out well so far, Dad says, pushing the folder to one corner of the table. Nate's a good worker, and he's got A's in both the classes we covered last semester. Kid's got a lot brighter than he gets credit for. I mean, he gets plenty of credit in this house, but okay. It's so great that you're doing that for him, Kirsten says, and the genuine warmth in her tone makes me feel like a prick. I don't have anything against Nate, but I can't shake the feeling that he's the son my father wishes he had. I grab my sweatshirt from the chair where I dropped it earlier, pulling it on as Kirsten adds, Want to come to lunch, Dad? We're getting wings. She only grimaces on the last word. No thanks. I need to get back to work and finish up our proposal for the mall parking garage. It's been sitting empty for much too long, and frankly, it's both an eyesore and a hazard. He frowns and turns back to me. One of my guys said he heard a rumor that kids have been cutting through the site. You seen anything like that, Knox? What? No. Definitely not. I practically yell it, way too loudly and empathetically. God, my father makes me nervous. His frown deepens and Kirsten tugs on my arm. All right, we're off. See you later. We're through the front door and halfway down the driveway before she speaks again. Work on your poker face, Knox, she mutters, pulling a set of keys out of her bag and aiming them at our silver Civic. And stop taking shortcuts through abandoned construction sites. It's sunny but a cool Saturday. I pull the hood of my sweatshirt up as I slide into the passenger seat. It was just a couple of times. Still, Kirsten says, climbing in beside me, it's my duty as your significantly older sibling to remind you how not safe that is. Consider yourself warned. She turns on the motor, and we wince as music blasts through the car at top volume. I always forget how loudly Kirsten plays her radio when she drives alone. Sorry, she says, turning it down. She glances into the rearview mirror and starts to back out of our driveway. So, I barely got to talk to you during that creepy bounty hunter game. It's still bullshit that you killed me, by the way. Not over it. Well, what's new with you? How's the job? How's the play? How's school? It's all good. Well, pretty good. She taps on the blinker and prepares to turn out of our road. Well, only pretty good. I'm not sure where to start, but I don't have to because Kirsten's phone rings. Hang on, she says, her foot still on the brake as she roots through her bag. It's Katie, she says, handing me the phone. Put her on speaker, would you? I do, and Kirsten calls. Hey, Katie. And I'm in the car with Knox. What's up? My second older sister's voice, tiny from the speaker, starts ranting about something that's pink but was supposed to be peach. Or maybe it's the other way around. Katie, stop, Kirsten says, inching onto the main road that will take us to the Bayview Center. I can't even understand you. Is this about flowers? Okay, Bridezilla. Let's take it down a few notches. I tune them out, unlocking my phone with a prickle of anticipation. Like everybody else at Bayview High this weekend, I've been waiting for a text from unknown, but there's been nothing. I'm guessing whoever their target was decided to take the dare, and now I don't know what to expect. It's new territory. Simon never bothered with that kind of gamemanship. Is it wrong that I'm kind of, interested? I shouldn't be after what happened to Phoebe, not to mention last year's months-long shit show. But there's a video game quality to all this that has me weirdly hooked. Like I could just block text from unknown and be done with it, but I don't. Hardly anyone at Bayview High has, as far as I can tell. What did Lucy Chen call us at lunch the other day? A high-risk population, conditioned to respond to the right kind of prompt like overstimulated lab rats? Or lemmings? That was Simon's preferred term. A bunch of texts from Maeve pop up while I'm reading. Hey, a bunch of us are getting together Friday when Bronwyn's in town. You in? Maybe, I reply. Is it spring break? No, she's just here for the weekend. Ashton's bachelorette party. Also, we're singing Into the Woods. She adds the grimacing emoji, and I send 3 of them back. I'm already sick of that play, and we're still weeks away from performing it. My singing range is microscopic, but I end up with the lead role anyway because I'm one of the only guys in drama club. Now that my throat hurts constantly from all the straining, plus rehearsals are messing with my until proven work schedule. It's weird and kind of uncomfortable to realize you might have started outgrowing a thing that used to almost be your whole life, especially if you're not sure what else to do with yourself. It's not like I'm tearing it up at school or work. My biggest contribution at Unsuburban so far is seconding Sandy's suggestion for conference room names, but I like it there. I'd enter more hours if I had the time. We're in downtown Bayview before Katie finally hangs up. Kirsten's just me an apologetic glance as she pulls into a parking lot across the street from Wing Zone. Sorry we got interrupted by a, quote, floor emergency, unquote, which is not a thing. Who have you been texting while I was ignoring you? Maeve, I say. The battery on my phone is almost dead, so I shut it off and put it back in my pocket. Ah, Maeve, Kirsten sighs nostalgically, the one that got away. She pulls into a spot and cuts the engine. From me, I mean. I was shipping you too hard. I had your couple name picked out and everything. Did I ever tell you that? It was Nave. I groan as I open my door. But you seem fine. Are you fine? Do you want to talk about it? She always asks that. I never accept. Of course I'm fine. We broke up a long time ago. We exit the car and head for an opening in the parking lot gate. I know, Kirsten says. I just don't understand why. You guys are so perfect for each other. It sounds like that. As great as my sisters are, I kind of wish I had an older brother, or a close guy friend who liked girls. Maeve and I weren't perfect, but that's not a conversation I know how to open up with Kirsten. I don't know how to open up with anyone. We're better as friends, I say. Well, I think that's great that... Huh? Kirsten stopped so suddenly that I almost bumped into her. What's with the crowd? Is it always this busy on a Saturday? We're within sight of a restaurant, and she's right. The sidewalk is packed. No, never, I say, and a guy in front of me turns up my voice. For a second, I don't recognize him, because I've never seen him outside of school, but there's no mistaking Matthias Schroeder, even out of context. He looks like a scarecrow, tall and thin with baggy clothes, wispy blonde hair, and strangely dark eyes. I find myself peering into them too closely, wondering if they're real or contact lenses. Hi, Knox, he says tonelessly. It's the chicken. Huh? I ask, is he speaking in code? Am I supposed to reply, the crow flies at midnight or something? Kirsten waits expectantly like I'm about to introduce her, but I don't know what to say. This is Matthias. He got suspended for copycatting Simon Keller last fall. We've never spoken before. Awkward, right? Matthias points upward with one long, pale finger. I follow his gaze to the wing zone's roof, and then I can't believe I didn't notice it sooner. The inflatable chicken's red heart necklace is finally gone. And so is his head. Well, it's probably still there, but somebody stuck what looks like the head of the Bayview Wildcat mascot costume onto its neck. Now the whole thing has turned into some kind of freaky, oversized cat chicken, and I can't look away. I snort but choke back on a full laugh when I catch Kirsten's exasperating expression. Oh, for God's sake, she mutters, why would someone do that? Yuppie revenge? I ask, but then immediately reject that idea. The kind of people who complain about that inflatable chicken lowering their real estate values aren't going to be any happier about this. You don't get it, Matthias asks. He looks hard at me, and God, that kid is weird. I can practically hear him saying, he's just lonely. Which might be true, but it's also true that he's weird. Some things are related, is my point. My stomach growls. It knows we're close to proximity to wings, and it's not happy about the delay. Get what? I ask impatiently. Always take the dare, right? Matthias says. He gives me a stiff little salute and turns on his heels, slipping through the crowd. Kirsten looks mystified. What's his deal? Beats me, I say distractedly, pulling out my phone to turn it back on. There are 2 texts waiting from unknown. Dare. Put the Bayview Wildcat mascot's head onto the wing zone chicken. Status. Achieved by Sean Murdoch. Congratulations, Sean. Nice work. The second text comes with a photo of the Wildcat/chicken. Up close, it looks taken by somebody standing right next to it. Everything around it's dark, which makes me think that the head swapping happened last night, but attention didn't reach critical mass until the wing zone lunchtime crowd appeared. More texts start piling up from Bayview High kids, responding to unknown. Nailed it. But I can't stop laughing. Epic of Sean. LMAO. Disappointment claws at my gut. As soon as I removed to text in Bayview in 7th grade, Sean, along with Brandon Weaver, made my life hell with hilarious games like, how many Knox's books can we fit into the toilet? Even now, Sean likes to ask me how my fag-hag sister is doing, because he's a Neanderthal who doesn't know what his crap insults mean. If there's anyone at Bayview I would have liked to be taken down by a peg by this game, it's him. But all this is going swell, Sean's meathead even bigger. There's no consequences for guys like him and Brandon. Ever. Your phone is going nuts, Kirsten says. What are you friends talking about? I turn it off and shove it in my pocket, wishing I could shut down all my useless rage that easily. It's just a stupid group text getting out of control, I say. They're not my friends, and neither is a no, which I should have known from the start. Obviously, but now I really know it.